But what aspect, what are you good at? Let's talk with the Athens team.
People.
Connections, okay. So just like getting folks on the phone?
Look, they're on the phone.
Okay, all right. So you are good at getting the people to come in and all that good stuff.
Average.
all right. What would you say average? Let's say you said, let's just say 100 appointments. How many of those people don't want to do that? 76%.
What is the national average when it comes to, setting appointments and people actually walking through the door? Does anybody know? So I'll tell you, the national average, right, is still 50 to 55%. Sometimes if you don't know that you're good at something, you'll never say, hey, you know what, I can shine in this area. You'll never really appreciate what you're bringing to the table, right?
She gets 76%. Anybody else doing better than 76%? Okay. So walk us through, what does that sound like? What are you saying? Do you have a process? Break it down for us, Karen.
I run a BDC with a team of 4, and I think getting them on board with relating to the customer early has been really beneficial. And it wasn't just about the immediate sale, it was about making a connection with that customer. A lot of my team are new car buyers themselves, and they've been able to say, hey, I know this process sounds complicated, but I actually went through it a year ago, or I went through it 2 years ago. And just building that connection first, and then saying, when can I have you come in and meet with one of our sales team members? I'll still be around the whole time, but I want to make that connection. I'm not here to sell you a car. I'm here to make sure you get what you want out of this process.
Wow. Was that give it up for us. So let's kind of break down exactly what she said. So it sounds like it's not like a specific script, but you do have a process of things that people basically say, and then it makes people feel comfortable, and then they come into the dealership. Is that right?
I think you set up a basic of what you want from each BDC rep, and I think the more flexibility you can give them over time to make it their process and their piece of work, but still sticking to the basics, they become more comfortable relating to that customer in their own way.
So we want to kind of find out what she said, the basics, right? What are the basics? Like if I'm brand new, I'm your BDC rep.
If you're listening to the customer to start off, I think
listen. I gotta write listen. Right, listen.
Because we have a lot of CTAs that roll through these websites now, and I think if every first email just confirms they're looking for, let's say, a Corolla, because I'm in a Toyota dealership, then you missed the part where their whole inquiry said, Corolla XLE black with black interior, I'm looking for it in 2 weeks. So if you didn't take those details and show that you paid attention, you look like a robot. We deal with so much AI now, and the second the customer realizes that you paid attention to the beginning, if they ask for an E-price, you give an E-price. Not, would you be open to red? Like, show them that E-price and then let the customer give you their objections, because an objection is still a reply and it's still an answer. So we can move from an objection, but we can't get anywhere if they don't respond to that first phone call, email, or text that you put out.
Okay, cool. So when you say CTA, make sure everybody understands what that is.
Oh, call to action.
Okay.
Buttons on your website, a way that they got to you, whether it's, TrueCar, you mentioned TrueCar, or if it was a Costco lead, you mentioned exactly how they got to you and what information they laid out on the table. They set you up for success from that initial inquiry. And I think if you just hit them with the template from the beginning, you sound like the other 3 dealers that are in their junk mailbox too.
Okay. I'll tell you that I had a coordinator. She was, kind of new and everything, and so I'm working with her. And she's like, oh my gosh, nobody's answering the phone. This is the worst. I can't do this, right? Now, understand that what she's saying is true. The hardest thing out of the entire business really is getting someone on the phone, right? But I said, okay, let's take a look at your numbers, right? Let's find out how many people are actually picking up the phone when you call, right? And she was having days where she had 15%, 17%, 20%, 14%, 16%. And I'm like, you're actually doing a great job. See, so if you, again, same situation, if you think you're doing bad and you're actually doing good, you're going to have negative energy, right? And so then the universe is going to say, okay, you don't appreciate this. Let me take you to give it to somebody else. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to make sure that you understand what the numbers are, right? So again, having a anything team connection ratio is absolutely amazing, okay? I'll tell you that, pre-pandemic, it had dropped to about 7%. I mean, it was tough, right? With the pandemic, folks were sitting at home, so it went up probably about 15. I saw 16%, everybody was answering the phone, right? But now, I mean, if you're getting a 10% connection ratio, you gotta be like, okay, I'm doing my doggone thing. Does that make sense? So the game is to make sure we're making enough phone calls, because we all understand this is a numbers business, right? Yes. I mean, every business is a numbers business, but literally it's about numbers. And so you have to make the quantity of calls so that you can get the quality of calls. Does that make sense? Yes. All right, cool. What are the numbers? Do you have a minimum number of calls that your team needs to make on a daily basis? Carry? You said 60, 40, 80? 80. Anybody got higher than 80?
Is that per day?
Yes. What's your number?
I don't.
Okay. All right. See, well, just think about it like this. Let's say we said 80, right? And I just said that there's a 10% connection ratio. So that means we're going to have 8 conversations in a day. You guys see what I'm saying? So all day long, right? If that 8-hour day, they're going to talk to one person per hour. I recommend at minimum 120. Write it down. Minimum 120 calls. And listen, don't let people tell you you can't do it. Don't let them tell you, because we just said 90% of people aren't even going to pick up the phone. How much time does it take to make 90 calls? I mean, we could probably sit here and make 90 calls before this daggone thing. If no one's going to answer the phone, we can just, I'm leaving voicemails. It's going to make what? 1-2 minutes max? I mean, if voicemail caught you off after 3 minutes, you shouldn't even be leaving 3-minute voicemails.
Do you attribute like a return call back? Do you break those out differently?
Connections.
So that's a great question, right? So think about it like this. If I call you, I'll carry up, right? She doesn't answer, but I leave her a voicemail, right? And she calls me back. Then that means we connected, yeah. So it's basically the same thing as if I called you, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's still a connection.
Yeah, because right now I think we're breaking out our inbound and outbound differently.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be why, we say 60 calls, but I'm breaking out that inbound and outbound different.
Because think about it, inbound is if, you just called me out of the blue, you saw the information,
Right.
you read it in the newspaper, you saw it on the internet, something like that, right? And so I have to take that call, that's gonna be a little bit different. But if I initiated it, well then it's because of an action I took.
Right.
So that's a connection. Does that help?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. All right, any other questions about this whole stuff?
So
Okay, go
you're
back to the
saying
gentleman.
you're
Okay.
saying that your 10% connection, you're counting callbacks in that 10%?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's god awful.
It's-
I wouldn't even put up with that. Like that shouldn't be an industry average at all. If you're counting those callbacks as connections.
All right, so let's talk about what Jenny's talking about, the times that we call people, right? Because the time that you call someone makes all the difference in the world. Most people are still working 9 to 5, right? And so the connection ratio, national average, the best time to get some folks on the phone, we call it prime time, is going to be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. When we look at CRMs and we see what are people texting, it's usually either way too long, right? Or we're not saying anything that really engages the prospect. Now here's the thing, understand, they call me the blind phone master, right? And I understand text is part of the phone, but it ain't the phone call. Does that make sense? Right? And the reason why I'm saying this is because it's the science of communication. It has nothing to do with what people want to do or anything. It's just how communication works, right? Harvard Business School told us that 55% of communication is visual perception and body language. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? 38% is tone and inflection. It's not what you say, it's how you say what you say. Does that make sense? Right? How you say what you say is what you say. I can say your name 7 different ways, you get 7 different meanings. Am I telling the truth?
Yes.
Your spouse could. Right? Right? And so imagine a 7-word sentence. Everything has a meaning, right? Let the whole paragraph, right? It all has a meaning. And so The text messaging, right, is only 7%. 7% of communication is text and the words that we use. Now, I'm not discrediting text message. I love text message. Text message is great for engagement. Just let's not mistake it for communication. Does that make sense? All right, okay. So the entire goal, if I'm texting someone, is to get them to want to talk to me. See, so many people like, oh, text them. Oh, can you call me? When can I call you? Can you call me? When can I call you? That's not getting somebody that's not gonna make me want to do anything but leave you alone, right? So we got to make sure we have that conversation, John. So let's talk about text messaging because again, it is a great form of communication. So Kalina just said that she would text people, and sometimes people would text her back, oh, hey, I can't talk right now. Call me at this such and such time. Are y'all getting those kind of responses?
No.
Right. Usually, what you get is, hey, I'm at work. Please text me. Something like that. Anybody ever got a message like that?
A customer not picking up the phone because perhaps maybe you didn't send them an email with the information first. So I've always been of the opinion that you should send them what they're asking for first so that they can speak intelligently and comfortably to you over the phone, and you're kind of talking from the same page in a sense.
If I'm going to get a 10% closing ratio, that means I can do it my way and get 10%. That means that there's still 9 other ways that you can do it completely different or similar and still get a 10%. Is that a fair statement, everybody? So I'm not saying that my way is the only way, but in my logic at Dealer Synergy, what works is this. I understand math. We talked about just before that's about, let's say, anywhere from 8 to 10% connection ratio on the phones. Follow me? So I am not going to waste my team's time. And I have high-level dealers that have, like Tyson's Toyota, the entire Queens Group is our client. And they have 800 Toyotas a month at a single point of store. They have 5,000 leads a month. We're not going to sit there and put all this custom information in, knowing that if we reach out to these people, the vast majority of people are not answering the phones. That's the first thing. The second thing is read open rates on emails are only 2 to 4%. Okay, 2 to 4%. So again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm being very careful, but I'm very positive in my approach. Is that I'm going to reach out to somebody and I'm going to try to establish the communication. And once communication is established, I'm going to qualify the prospect. For me, there's no difference between a fresh up and an internet up. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. It's 2024. How this now? When I sold cars as a 30-car person, I'm not going to go into my showroom floor, up somebody, and then because they were on the internet, I'm going to do something different. What are the rules of engagement? Qualify the prospect. Identify the wants, wishes, expectations, etc. Here's why. The price quote, for example, I'm going to play devil's advocate. What kind of store do you have, sir?
I represent an OEM.
Okay, perfect. What do we have?
Audi.
Perfect. Highline. Okay, perfect. Especially Highline. Okay, does your OEM have any types of rebates and incentives? Most manufacturers that I find have money that's not open to the public, such as conquest money, such as owner loyalty. There might be college grad, military first responders. Does Audi have any of that stuff?
Sure.
Okay, so follow me. If carrying with my wife, she's got great taste, she's looking for an Audi, right? So she's looking for a brand new Highline Audi, and someone gives her a price response because that was in her email. If they don't know what else she qualifies for, is that really an accurate price? No. Most of you that are giving a price goes right off the jump are not even giving the actual best price or the actual accurate because you don't have all the qualified information. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So for me, it's just a different approach. And we have exotic dealerships, Lamborghini, Maserati, etc. And I used to work for Porsche, Jaguar, Aston Martin, Ray Katina many, many years ago. So I understand that Highline customer is different and need to be treated that way, but that's why I want to give them that bespoke experience. I want to qualify them. I want to understand their wants, wishes, expectations. I want to find out what they possibly qualify for that might not know just by them submitting an internet purchase request. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Different perspective. It's crazy paradigms. I mean, I've done this for 3,700 rooftops to 6 countries in 20 years, and I've tried it every different way, and this mousetrap works extremely well.
Like, when's a good time for me to give you a call? Or you say, okay, well, I'll call you at such and such time. I'll tell you that the challenge with that is that, especially if you call them and they hit you with that text message, I think a lot of us can do it on our phones. Apple has an automatic button, it just presses the button and says, oh, can't talk right now, right? Please text or something like that. The challenge with saying, hey, when can I call you, is we're saying exactly what they do not want. Does that make sense? And so then what happens is they ghost us, right? They're like, oh. Right? So now it's gonna sound counterintuitive, especially based off what Sean just said, but I'm telling you it works. And then the reason why it works is because it gives me a chance to, as he said, qualify the prospect. I get to find out. So what I'm gonna say is something similar to what you said, but I'm gonna say this, hey, absolutely no problem, we can text and just talk later. Y'all should write those 3 words down. And just talk later, right? 4, I guess, actually, right? And just talk later, right? You gotta foreshadow a conversation. Does that make sense? Yes. You gotta let them know that, listen, we can text, but I definitely plan on speaking with you. We're gonna have a conversation. So now when you say that, now this is when they'll text and they'll give you all the information. They might say, oh, okay, hey, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, whatever the case may be, okay? Now, how do I get people to want to talk to me? So, you gotta understand that the thought process when I'm having a conversation with someone is people don't like to be confused and they don't like for you to be confused. Does that make sense?
Yes.
A lot of salespeople don't use the terminology, and I'm not saying you gotta use these words, but the thought process of, I'm confused. Can y'all say I'm confused?
I'm confused.
Right? And so if somebody's like asking me questions, I'm like, well, I'm a little confused, but hey, now, if I let them know that, and I can say, hey, when's a good time for me to talk? Only because I just want to be able to understand exactly what you're asking me. I just want to make sure I'm serving you properly, such and such and such and such. Well, now people feel like the conversation is going to be valuable to them, not you. Does that make sense? So now they're going to be more likely to have that conversation with you. You'd be surprised. I'll say, hey, when's a good time for us to talk for about 2 or 3 minutes? I never say like long time. Don't say, y'all, can we talk for 10, 20 minutes? That's not gonna work, right? You gotta say, hey, 2, 3 minutes. Understand that people understand their time is valuable, right? We teach there's only 86,400 seconds in a day. Once they're gone, right? Right. Yeah. So we gotta make sure folks value their time. So I'm gonna say, hey, when's a good time for us to talk for maybe 2 or 3 minutes? I'll say real quick. Those are 2 words I use a whole lot. Real quick, when's a good time for us to talk after maybe 2 or 3 minutes? And that way I can understand exactly what you're saying and get you exactly what you need. Oh, call me at such and such time. Great, that's exactly what I wanted. But it comes from a different perspective. Does that make sense? Now people are like, they're like want to talk to you. They're welcoming in your call versus like, they faltering, they looking at it like, oh man. You don't want that. You don't want that perspective. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, cool. Any questions about it? That work? Awesome. All right, so let's continue. I want to talk about another aspect of text messaging that I think is really important. I think that we'll have conversations with people, even someone who you've spoken to, right? Because I always talk about, hey, tone and inflection is everything. So once I've spoken to a person, well, now text might be a little bit more acceptable because, they know who I am. The challenge with text messages, someone you've never spoken to, is they don't know your tone of voice, they don't know your inflections, they don't know who you are. They're placing your text message and putting it in the voice of the last car salesman they spoke to that they didn't like. Does that make sense? All right, cool. So we don't want to do that. So now that I'm texting, if I'm having a conversation back and forth with someone, if it gets to a place where they stop responding to me, anybody ever had that happen? Yeah. Been ghosted? Okay, cool. I'm gonna give you a way of saying something to them. Now, this is a lot of people overt on them. They'll try to use this inappropriately, and it's not going to get you the results that you want. But if you do it properly, meaning that, someone's haven't said anything back to you, and let's just say 3-4 days, something like that, right? It's just, oh my gosh, I can't get anything from this person, right? We were having a great conversation, and that the foolproof way, I'm telling you, I personally I got 1,000% response ratio when I use this text. 1,000%, all right? They always text me back. Y'all say always?
Always.
They always text me back, right? And I'll explain how once I tell you about text message. Y'all ready for the text message? Have you given up on the Nissan? Have you given, whatever the make of the vehicle, you understand what I'm saying? Whatever the model of the vehicle is. Have you given up on the blank? When you send that, what are people going to respond back? It's a question designed for them to say what? really is designed for them to say no. See, it's a no-oriented question. Does that make sense? So many times, we're taught, now I teach this myself, oh, we got to get people to say yes, got to get people to say yes, got to get people to say yes, right? That's what we teach. And then the thing about it is there's 3 different types of yeses, right? There's the confirmation yes, right? There's the commitment yes, but then there's also the counterfeit yes. We don't want those. Understand that people are, even though they like to say yes, people are more comfortable saying no. People have been saying no since they was 2 years old? It's literally one of the first words most kids ever speak. Am I telling the truth? Right? And so what you got to do is you make people feel comfortable when you allow them to say no. You don't say no? I tell people all the time, prospecting all the, look, you tell me no, right? Tell me no quick. I'd rather you tell me no, right? So we want to give people the opportunity to say no. And so when they say no, great. Isn't that wonderful? No, they haven't given up on it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. If they say yes, then what about, they still responded to me. And then I get, oh, why such, right? That has literally happened. I've had that conversation with dealers before, Casey, right? Literally, Tiana, someone of the teammates reaching out to people, all of a sudden some people stop responding to them. I'll just send them a message. Have you given up on the training? Well, yes, we have. Something. Oh, okay, well, explain to me why. Now we're in the conversation again. Does that make sense? I'm telling y'all, it's an amazing question. Just make sure you use it properly. Any questions, comments, or anybody?
I have a question about
Yeah.
that. Okay, sir.
Yeah. What's your name first? And somebody bring up a microphone.
Seth.
Oh, that's Seth. Yeah, my man.
Yes, sir. I think this is genius because I think it's highly effective in almost every aspect of the business. Do you have a specific timing window? Is it early in the ghosting stage? Do you accept it early on in the ghosting, or do you wait a little bit to give them, some time? When do you start to engage with this technique?
The magic number I found is like that 3, 4, 5 day window. So longer than 72 hours, but definitely less than a week, right? I'm not going to let it go forever, right? Because now their mind is completely in a different place. So that 3, 4, 5 day window is the magic time to use it.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Thanks, I appreciate it. Is that good, y'all?
Yes.
Y'all gonna use it to engage more people? I'm
Yes.
telling you, now I've had people just like blast it out to all their prospects and then they get people answering, great. Yeah, but that's not the purpose of it, right? It's kind of a secret weapon. Anybody ever played video games before?
Yes.
You know how you use the superpower, right, to take away your energy, right? So that's kind of what that is. You want to use that in that regard. I'll give you another one, because people say, oh, LA, what about if I don't have the phone call, if I'm just emailing, right? Because we know a lot of folks are just emailing, right? You can say something like this. Here's what I would write in the subject line. And the reason why just so you know, my background is in, you guys know it's production, engineering, things like that. However, I was trained with Sean when I finally made the decision I was going to work with Sean. Anybody heard of a gentleman named Chris Voss? Okay. He wrote a book called Never Split the Difference. He's a former hostage negotiator. And so I learned about words and how to work with people through him, and he challenged me to volunteer at a suicide hotline, because literally if you work with folks on a suicide hotline, all of this stuff becomes very easy. Does that make sense? Yeah. So understanding how psychology works and all that good stuff. So labeling, I can come back to this at a certain point in time. I teach this when I teach about how to properly TO a phone call, because most folks don't do that properly, right? But I'll tell you, this is an email that I'm going to send, and I'm going to put something in the subject line, and I'm going to leave the email blank. And I may say something along these lines. I might say, it seems like I've done something to offend you. Seems like I've done something to offend you. Nothing in the email, in the body, and just hit send. The amount of responses you get from that is amazing. You can get people responding to you. Does that make sense? Are y'all with me on this?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. This is exactly what Sean was talking about. we don't recommend, like, I'm not going to be trying to communicate with somebody that's never said anything to me at all. But if they've said something to me and they stop saying something to me, well, then how can I get them to re-engage? I'm going to do something like that. And then once they begin to engage with me, now I'm going to communicate with them using video. But this ain't video master conference, this is phone master conference. I just wanted to get y'all that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is that helpful?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, any other questions about texting? You're like, how do I handle this situation? What do I do? Anything like that? Okay. Anybody else feel like they're particularly good at, this whole texting and getting people on the phone? Because that's what they said they had challenges with. Does everyone feel comfortable? You got some tools you can take back to your dealership today and get more people to get on the phone. All right, awesome. All right. So, kind of go back to this whole getting folks engaged. So, on your previous page, when we were talking to Carrie, and she said that we got to make sure that we listen to the customer, right? That's one of the number one things she said. We call it pacing the conversation. We call it, just building rapport with.
So, do you have anything in particular that you guys say when someone picks up the phone?
Hello?
Hi, is this LA?
Yes, it is.
Hi, LA. This is Carrie from Hayward Allen Toyota. I'm just following up with you on your inquiry through TrueCar from the Corolla.
Well, so Paul, do you see? She was prepared. Y'all see how that works?
Yeah.
She's like, "Hello, is this LA?" Half the time, folks don't even know the person they're calling. They're like, "Hello, is this?" Trying to look at the screen, look on the CRM, and now you sound so unprepared and unprofessional. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So you gotta make sure your people know exactly what to say when people pick up the phone. I mean, she asked a very simple question. Hello, is this LA? I teach people that that's what they should say when they're picking up a TO phone call. Don't pick up the phone, don't TO, and you're like, oh, hi, this is such and such manager. Nobody cares, right? You want to get the person to say yes to you. Hello, is this prospect name, whatever their name is. That is the sweetest sound outside of someone's own voice. The sweetest sound is their name, the English language. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Beautiful. All right, so that's what I would say is the very first thing is, making sure that we're prepared when someone picks up the phone. So now, Carrie, I'm not going to tell you this whole follow-up thing. I don't like the word follow-up. It's so salesy. Man, what? I'm just following up, right? That's not what this is just me. I'm just, keep doing work for you, all right? Don't make no adjustments. Keep working for you. But I just know how it makes people feel when you tell them that they're following up about an inquiry, right? I will say, I will ask the person, did I catch them at a good time? And I don't have a challenge doing that because, again, I want to talk to people who want to talk to me. Does that make sense? Yeah, so I'm not worried about, what if they say no and all that. I know how to handle that. I know how to handle everything. That's just how I feel, right? And I think it's important that we get our people to feel as confidently. They got to say, it doesn't matter. I always know what to say. Can y'all say that? I always know what to say. We gotta have that level of confidence because confidence, right? Listen, how do you get more confident? Well, you get more competent. Well, how do you get more competent? Well, you get more confident. Well, how do you get more confident? You get more. There's a competence loop. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's so important that we have our people gotta feel confident. And the big thing, Carrie definitely sounds confident on the phone. She sounds like she's about to set an appointment with me. Man, I'm telling you. She got that. She's like, hold on. Let's get back on this call. You feel how I feel. Give me some of that good. Give me some of that good stuff, right? I tell people all the time, even when we're role playing, right? I'm like, wait, don't stop at the appointment part. I want to get it, right? Even though it's fake, I know the feeling, trust me. Right? So, but again, that's exactly how we got to get things kicked off. Are y'all with me? All right, perfect. So again, okay, we're telling them that we'll give them the reason that we're calling, right? We call it asking permission to speak. We'll give them the reason that we're calling. I heard you about to do that, right? But then immediately after that, we got to start pacing that conversation. We got to start getting them to know us, like us, trust us, believe us, because if they do, then they'll buy from us. They got to do what? Know us. Y'all write that down. Know us, like us, trust us, believe us, and then they'll buy from us. It don't matter what you're selling. You sell an appointment, it's free. Right? Sometimes I use that when I'm talking to prospect. Oh, well, I'm like, wait a minute, this is free. It's not gonna cost no money. The appointment is free. So know us, like us, trust us, believe us, then they'll buy from us. And is that kind of what your people are doing here?
Yes.
All right, cool. So we get them to know us, like us, trust us, believe us. Where do you go next?
Ask for their business.
Asking for the business, okay. So all right, so let's jump back into the role. I think you said you want to jump back into the role. Let's do that. All right, call me again.
Ring, ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi, is this LA?
Yes, who's this?
This is Carrie at Hayward Allen Toyota. Did I catch you at a good time?
Oh, yeah, I have a moment. What's going on?
I'm just following up with your inquiry for that Corolla that you put in online.
Yeah, it was something that my wife and I were looking at. We're gonna get something for our daughter.
Well, I was just getting ready to send you an email over with some information. I want to make sure I have all your wants and needs down here. You did want it with the black interior with a sunroof, correct?
Yeah, I mean, she picked out whatever it is that she likes. They just kind of make me handle the financial part of it. You know how that goes.
Would it be better to call your wife later and go over some of the details?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, like I said, well, first of all, let's talk about that. What's the price on this?
Yeah, I'm working that up now. I do have to put some things together. What kind of price range are you looking to be in?
I mean, for us, we don't want to spend anything more than, lowest price you can get, 25, 30 grand, so I want to be lower than that.
Okay, I can certainly try to get there. Is there anything else besides price that's important to you?
I'll just say just the overall experience. A lot of times you go to car dealers and it's just not the best experience.
Well, we definitely don't want you to have a bad experience. Is there a time this week that may work best for you to come by and we can kind of show you how we're a little bit different here?
You know what? I probably do need to talk to them and kind of figure this whole thing out together. I can give you a call back and we can, see what would be best.
Of course. What would be a good time to catch back up later?
Call me this evening, because we'll be all together. We'll have dinner or something like that now. That we spoke.
All right, LA. I'll put together some pricing for you, send it over, allow you to review it with your wife, and then we can talk later this evening.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks,
All
LA.
right, bye. Okay, cool. So y'all see she got a process, right? Y'all see how that works? Okay, cool. So, why you do that? Why do you not like mine?
I've got a microphone and I'm in the front row.
That's where superstars belong.
Behind the screen. Where's my screen?
That's where superstars belong, right? So let's talk about, again, the cool thing is that she had an immense amount of confidence, right? She didn't back down. She didn't get scared by anything that I said. Does that make sense?
Yes.
She had confidence, and I think so many times with our people, a person will ask them a question, and then they don't know what to say. I'll give you something very, very strong that Carrie did. Did anybody notice what she did when I asked her a question? What did she do, y'all? She sold it not. She sold it not.
That's a different
She
question.
sold, right? Wait. That was excellent, right? Did y'all hear that? She just told y'all the answer. Wait a minute. Let everybody get their pens and pads ready again, right? So now, when I asked her a question, what did she do?
I asked another question.
That's fire. You must learn to answer questions with questions. Y'all say answer questions with what? We gotta learn to do that. And it feels very uncomfortable to do in the very beginning. So when I'm training people, I teach them, right? And Tom Hopkins, this is old school, right? He talks about the porcupine question, right? So if someone asks, hey, do you have one in blue? Would you like one in blue? Isn't that easy? And then when they say yes, they bought, right? So it's so simple, but we just have to learn how to do that. We got to teach our people how to answer questions with what? Yeah, so that's a huge point right there. All right. So let's say I'm on the phone with Kalina, right? And I'm talking to her, and I'm talking, hey, listen, this great about the vehicle, right? She might say, what are some questions they might say? Oh, how many miles does it have when it's talking about a pre-owned vehicle, right? Ask me that.
How many miles is on it?
It's like 43,000 miles, something like that. Right? They might say, oh, what color is the interior?
What color is the interior?
It's like a brown leather. It's actually really beautiful, right? And then they go, oh, and how much is it?
How much is it?
And then we're like, right? We freeze up or we don't answer the question, right? And now they feel like they can't trust us. So I want to make sure my folks know you can't just have one different response. You got to have multiple responses, right? Again, there's certain key things I just want you to know. Understand that asking for the appointment has to be done a certain type of way. It's an alternate choice is how I'm going to do it. I know you asked about voicemail and things like that. I think that is extremely important. I'll give you 3 key aspects of a good voicemail. You ready? aspects of a good voicemail. Number one, a voicemail has to have energy, right? And energy does not mean loud, right? I say, hey, Casey, give me a call so you get this message, man. We got to talk. You feel my energy? Even though I'm not loud, it has great energy. And so folks have to have good energy on the phone call. You can't just understand it's just like, you know, when you talk to someone on a cell phone, they don't hear you as you're saying what you're saying. There's a slight delay.
Yeah.
Y'all realize that, right? Okay, well then the voicemail is still speaking to the person. It's just a little longer. And that whole concept about, you know, people not listening to voicemail, whatever. Some people don't, some people read. But if they do, I want to make sure I'm represented positively. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. The other thing that you have to have, I call it ETC, right? So energy, you have to have a trusting voice. You gotta sound like you know what you're talking about. You gotta sound like you know what you're doing. Does that make sense? You don't want to sound like, you know, like he said, almost everybody else. So many people just really are not true phone professionals. They're just there. They're just talking. You gotta bring something to the table. So you gotta sound like you know what you're talking about. And then the last thing is C is you gotta make sure that there's some curiosity. You gotta pique their curiosity. You're basically leaving almost like a commercial on the phone. Why should somebody call me back? People crack me up. Oh, please, this is L.A. Williams from ABC Motors. Please call me when you get this message. Leave my phone number. You know, the vehicle's available. So what? All right, cool.
AI.
So, so let's talk about
The
this.
buzzword.
Right? AI is a straight buzzword, right? Everybody knows AI. So how many people here have ever worked with ChatGPT? I'm making a noise real quick.
Yes, sir.
Is that everybody? Or who's asking? Let me ask that question. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So y'all been my team that I'm most engaged. Y'all gotta make sure. Listen, open up your phone real quick. You got iPhone? Carrie got it? Okay. Download the ChatGPT app right now. ChatGPT. It's OpenAI. It's by OpenAI. It's a ChatGPT. It's a free app. I think. Let's see what color it is. So the reason why I'm having you do this is because, listen, 80% of people, even if they hear about ChatGPT and AI and all that kind of stuff, they never actually engage with it, right? And so the key, you know, the key is getting you started, right? So just make sure that you download the ChatGPT app. Make sure you create a profile like immediately. Do it before. Don't leave this room without creating a profile with OpenAI. Are y'all with me? Whoever doesn't, you should commit to yourself that you're not gonna leave this room without downloading the app. And if you don't have an iPhone or you don't have a way to do it, you can actually just go to openai.com, and you can set up this. It's free, right? The higher level stuff costs, but just get to know it free. 3.5 is free. So openai.com. So what you're going to use this for is best practices. How do I respond? I got Tiana in the room. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, this girl is awesome. You can tell it, hey, I work at a Toyota dealership. I have a customer who's looking for a Toyota, whatever the situation may be. This is the text message they sent me. How should I respond? What should I say to get them to respond back to me? Right? And it'll give you multiple suggestions. If it gives you one suggestion, you can say, give me 3 more. Right? Anybody want to pull up their CRM? Give me an actual text message that somebody sent to you.
My name is John. I have a customer named Tiana. She sent me a text that says, which I want Tiana text to say.
Do you still have that Corolla as well?
Okay. Do you still have that Corolla in stock?
I want to respond to her in a way that will make her want to talk to me on the phone. What should I say?
Yes, we still have that Corolla in stock. It's a fantastic choice. I'd love to chat with you and answer any questions you might have. Can I give you a call to discuss the details?
So it'll tell you exactly what you should say, and you can just copy and paste it. And if you don't like it, you'll say,
yeah. It's the harder the better.
Yes.
The AI is going to turn around and break that shit down and give you multiple responses like that quickly.
And you can even choose like different tones, grade levels.
Yeah. Explain, Karen, when you say this is cool.
I mean, it's as simple as that. You know, you can say put this in a polite tone, a professional tone, make the sound more professional. You know, put this into
watch this.
ready for an email.
Make the response sound funny.
Hi, Timon. It's the brand new department of John Williams Toyota. Roland's still here, and it's like magic wand calls, magic wand service. However, you want to call, my voice is magic wand just starts told you for a long day. This was like nice. Have a receiver.
See, you got emojis and everything there. That's what I heard, right? So again, do whatever you want to do. So our whole AI course, y'all, I'll teach you AI this.
Yeah, you got a AI course, which is for innovation.
You can go for like email templates, text messages, marketing.
Social media, and again, it's I don't know how the hell he does with the voice over stuff, but if you get it, all you gotta do is highlight it or cut and paste it. It's even faster. Well, maybe not he's a beast, but
And you can even save it into categories so that you can just like keep growing that particular thing. So if there's a rebuttal that you keep, or an objection that you keep getting, and you just want like a master library of rebuttals, you can just continue to add to that.
For the paid version. So we talked a little bit about it. If you want to get a little more information on the podcast, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. What episode was that, T? It was like season 7, episode 25 or somewhere around there, right? Or whatever, find it, right? ChatGPT and AI, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. Anybody listening? Yeah, awesome. Appreciate y'all. You gotta listen. You can change that. All right, y'all. So listen. Then we gotta get out of here in about less than 30 seconds. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, whatever, like I said, come up here. Make sure you get yourself scanned. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell them. Like, I don't know. Y'all can call me if you want to. You guys, I don't know what the rules are, right? Let's are mad at me, though. But seriously, I really do just want to help you all. If you see that I'm, giving you value, then just come to me because I'm always willing to help.
Do you like the content? Well, if you want more, then you need to sign up for Bradley On Demand, the world's best virtual training platform in the entire automotive industry. With some of the top speakers, salespeople, and trainers, and almost 7,000 training modules. You will sell more cars more often and more profitably. So sign up now at www.bradleyondemand.com.